bit of an abbreviated morning routine today. I did a very quick dry brush just on my face. That's just like my bare bones dry brushing routine. And then I oiled my scalp because I am on my way to the gym. I'm gonna have a quick workout, jump in the sauna, let all those oils sink into my hair. And then I made a quick workout smoothie. There's really nothing special about it. It's just that I'm about to exercise. And I meant to only make one jar, but I'm like incapable of making small amounts of smoothies. And I will probably end up drinking these jars before, during, and after my workout because I no longer accept other people's ideas about when it is best for me to eat. I eat when my body wants food. I just will have to make sure there's not kale in my teeth while I'm the only person smiling at the gym. That would be embarrassing. All right, y'all, let's go. On the last video I made about a vegan YouTuber who recently went back to eating animal products, I ended up getting a lot of comments from, I guess, like co-subscribers, I don't even know what to call it. Anyway, a lot of people really confused by the recent choice of Evan and Megan, who have the YouTube channel Moon and Rock, I think is what it's called. And a lot of people like genuinely seemed to be distraught about this. In the video they put out that details why they decided to go back to eating animal products, they said several times in the video, and then it was in the description, and it was even in the last few seconds of the video where they had like this really bright, cheery music while they filmed a freezer full of dismembered baby animals, lamb, that it's bad if we judge them for this choice. So I'm gonna start this video by saying that I am a spiritual being with a fully intact ego, and I use my ego to successfully navigate the physical reality that I currently live in on this plane of existence. Judgment and discernment is a big part of being an embodied human being and understanding how to successfully take care of these physical meat suits that we were so generously gifted when we came onto this planet. So I use my very human, very natural, very innocent, very necessary judgment to discern patterns in behavior and outcome, both in my own self and in others. And in this case, in my 10 years of being involved in, the natural health and healthy diet movements, I've discerned some patterns. So here's what I've seen on multiple occasions when people decide to make the choice to switch to veganism. First, they make the choice. And second, they decide what kind of vegan diet they're going to eat. They might choose to eat a vegan diet that's more focused on processed foods. And we went over kind of the likely consequences of that in the video a couple of weeks ago. Another choice would be to eat a wide variety of whole plant foods, supplement where necessary, exercise like a reasonable human being, rest enough, and generally speaking, just eat like a really good nutrient-dense diet and take care of our human bodies and minds. And then there's another path that I see taken really commonly, especially in my time in the raw food movement, I've watched hundreds, if not thousands of people go down a certain path and then slam into a wall. It usually goes something like this. Decide to go vegan. Try raw veganism. Try fruitarianism. Eliminate all fats. Hear about water fasting. Decide to start trying water fasting. Get really interested in herbal tonics. Start replacing more and more foods with superfoods. Decide it's healthiest to only eat after 12 p.m. and stop eating at 4 p.m. and or switching to eating only one meal per day. Around this time, if not sooner, alkalized water becomes a fixation. I've seen a lot of people get into do-it-yourself fermentation, claiming that it's really good for their gut health, even though people keep reporting worse and worse gut health as they have gone down this path. And I'm not saying necessarily that this is definitely what's going on with Megan and Evan, but I've also seen a lot of people who start going down this path start saying things like, I need less sleep. I feel great with like 4 or 5 hours of sleep because my vibration is so high. And I don't know if that's the gateway or what into the woo-woo spiritualism, where everything starts to become vibrations and love and light, gratitude and meditation becomes very important. All exercise becomes yoga. And throughout this whole process, it's almost inevitable that the people who have gone down this path become very, very skinny. And then at some point, months or years later, they go back to animal products because they don't feel well. I just don't feel right. I have no energy. I'm spacey. I can't focus. I have candida. I need to eat intuitively. It's always this thing like I have to listen to my body. And I'm all about listening to our bodies, but why weren't we listening to our bodies when our bodies were hungry, but we were only eating one time a day? Why didn't we listen to our bodies then? And it's kind of inevitable, you know, if we so severely limit the types of foods that we're eating or the times of day when we're allowed to eat or the amount of food that we're supposed to eat, we're gonna develop deficiencies, and those can take months or years to develop, but of course it's going to happen if you're not eating enough to sustain this physical manifestation that we came into. There's no amount of spirituality or high vibrations that's going to prevent an iron or a calcium or a magnesium or a selenium deficiency. There is also such a thing as being too alkaline. Like when we're eating whole plant foods and we're taking really good care of ourselves and we're not exercising too much and we're having all kinds of elixirs and teas or juices or tonics, and then we have alkalized water on top of that, it is extremely possible to over-alkalize yourself. And just like being too acidic has an effect on our body, being too alkaline has a major effect as well. Mineral balance, bone health, the ability of our nerves and muscles to function properly, our mental acuity, it's all affected by the pH of our body. But I've seen again and again and again with people who get into veganism and then decide to go down this like ultra healthy, ultra pure path, there's such a thing as too much. We don't need to eat all raw foods to be healthy. We don't need to eat one meal a day. We don't need to restrict the times of day that we eat. We do not need to put ourselves on water fasts. We do not need to eat or overeat superfoods. We do not need alkalized water. We do not need DIY at-home ferments. But it's like we get these ideas in our head, and if we don't feel well, we think, oh, it's because I'm too acidic, or, oh, my gut health is messed up, so I need more fermented food. And I mean, I understand, I get it. I went through a similar thing. I started out with raw veganism and I aspired to fruitarianism. I listened to all the experts. I wanted to do the fasting. I wanted to be alkaline and high vibration. And I hit the same wall and I had the same thought. I need to go back to eating animal foods. Maybe that's what it is. I even tried eating fish once or twice, and I just decided that this is not something that I want to do. And I'm so glad I took that option off the table, because I went back to the drawing board, did a ton more research, and drastically changed my diet to really increase the nutrient density. And lo and behold, I felt better. And also, I'm interested in spirituality. It's not a huge part of my channel because that's something that I hold very near and dear and private. And I have found that there are really profound issues when it comes to integrity and talking about spirituality. But this discussion does also bring up a good point, which is, in order to be healthy, do we have to eat vegan diets? Scientific research indicates that no, we don't have to make that choice. We can probably include small amounts of animal products into our diets, be those our daily or weekly diets, and we'll probably be okay. We will most likely reap all of the benefits of a plant-based diet just by doing that. And so veganism really truly is, in my opinion, a personal choice. I look at the world today, I feel the earth today energetically. The state that it's in is a problem. At this point, it looks very grim for humanity being able to survive, for the vast majority of the species on this planet to be able to survive. And so I believe that though there may have been a point in our ancestry in which eating animal products was a part of the natural way of doing things, it was spiritually grounded. But I look at what we're doing today. We are emptying the oceans. We are, in the United States, killing 52 billion land animals every year. And if you want to talk about Big Island grass-fed beef, I know the farmers who raise that. There's nothing spiritual about it. There's nothing in tune with the natural world about it. The vast majority of those animals are live exported to feedlots in California where they're fattened before slaughter. Nobody involved in raising, killing, or processing those animals gives a shit about them. They're money. They're just money. And in my time, in my current physical incarnation, I've been inside slaughterhouses. I've been inside processing plants. I have cut apart baby animals. I've cut out the blood clots where they were electrocuted. There's nothing spiritual about that. There is no goodness there. And when I sit still in silence and meditate on where humanity is and how we're treating this planet and the other animals that live on her, I know deep in my guts that there is no way for me to participate in that. At this point, the karmic load is too heavy, and it is my responsibility to utilize every resource available to me to see to it that I am able to physically thrive without contributing. You know, humanity has taken a huge swing in a very destructive direction, and it's going to take a huge swing back in the other direction to save our species, to save the biosphere that is capable of supporting our species, our children. We are talking about things that are going to be happening within our children's lifetimes. This is not the time for half measures and pussyfooting around and making ourselves eat one meal a day and driving ourselves into deficiencies. This is a time for the harshest judgment and for absolute exacting action and firm stances. Otherwise, we don't have a future. And that's what really bothers me about this me spirituality, is that it talks a really good game. Love and light and gratitude and all the warm fuzzies. But when it comes down to honestly evaluating where our actions do harm to animals, to the communities we move into without even thinking about it, or by centering ourselves in arguments as the constant victim. Oh, you judged me. Oh, that hurt me. Oh, what you say is mean. oh, you try to make me feel bad for taking care of my body. And I'd like to finish up just by speaking to my own experience for a moment. When I decided that love and light and gratitude were the good spiritual things to do, I orphaned 3/4 of my emotions. I had to purposefully block off the majority of what I felt on a daily basis. I had to block off a lot of reality because it's really like, it's hard to see everything, and it's really intense and inconvenient to feel everything and to let it move through you and move you. In the moment, it feels so much better to just focus on the love and light. But in my experience, that focus took me out of my complete human experience, and it took me out of my integrity. And when I moved out of my integrity and away from the wholeness of who I was, I lost access to a huge amount of personal power. Literally, the life stream of energy that moves through me, it just disappears to piddles when I'm not being authentically complete. In those times that I chose to live that way, it didn't feel right. Like physically, mentally, things slowed down. And I know that's getting like off into the woo-woo woods, which is where I spend a lot of my time, but I respect that not everybody wants to. And my genuine hope, like what I would consider my purpose in this physical incarnation on earth, is to do my best to see that as many human beings as possible are successful on long-term plant-based or vegan diets, so that we have hope for our kids. And as far as I can tell, in order to be successful, we have to actually eat a lot and regularly and wisely. And speaking of which, I am just about ready for lunch. Right, there is lunch. Have a bed of red cabbage and red onions, some orange sweet potatoes that I cooked up last night, some lentils cooked in tomato paste with onions and garlic, and then my not kimchi, which just goes with everything, to be perfectly honest. I also cut up a couple of Brazil nuts to put on top. Only 2 though, because they're very high in selenium, and you can like overdo your selenium for the day if you have more than 2. And I went to buy them last week and ended up spending $30 on Brazil nuts. Uh-oh. Sadly, I am not the kind of woman who is capable of eating without spilling on herself. So there we go. Got my tree frog napkin. So this hearty bowl should tide me over until dinner time, although I know that on the days when I go to the gym and I lift a little bit heavy, I tend to get ravenous. So we'll see. I will see you guys next time I consume sustenance. My wonderful husband showed up with a coconut. I'm gonna sip on this, probably have a little bit of kombucha, and make dinner. There she is. Tonight's dinner. Some of my favorite foods on this plate, you guys. Okay, let's be realistic. All the food is my favorite food. I have black beans, spiced brown rice, oil-free spiced fries, a sweet potato, fresh pico de gallo salsa, and fresh young coconut flesh on top. And oh my lord, I forgot some of the best part. This dipping sauce for the fries is like a little bit decadent. It's a blend of tahini and maybe a tablespoon or two of sweet chili sauce. And then I just used water to thin it out. We will put it all over the fries. You really want to smother your fries because otherwise there's just not really a point to being alive. It's the wisdom I've picked up over the years. There we go. Oh, yes. So I am going to scarf down this decadent plate of amazing whole plant foods. And that will be everything that I ate today. As always, make better choices for yourself. No one will do it for you. And take really, really good care of your sweet selves. I will see you all very soon. Bye.
Happy things. You want some red cabbage?
I made my plate.
Oh, shit.
It's a mountain. We should get those edible plates, and then I could just start from one side like a tostada. And I... Freaking dog. I'm so spiritual. Shut up! Love and light. I'm so grateful.
Shut up!
Oh my god, shut up! No! Quiet!
These nightmare animals.
Love and light. Namaste.